Uh, Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. That's right, Leroy. What's up, Cosmic? Be a little bit different today.
The sound of the rain needs no translation.
I don't understand this. You're changing, I can't stand it. My heart can't take this damage. In the way I feel, can't stand it. Baby, I don't understand. Yesterday.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast with your boy Audible 484. Um, I almost didn't do a podcast this week. It just didn't feel like I had anything to talk about after doing the one last week, talking about the protests and stuff like that. Um, I'd like to say that the dust seems like it's being settled. Oh my god, I look crazy. I look like I have huge bags under my eyes from this angle, but I'd like to say that the dust seems to be settling, but it's not. The protests and the chaos continues to happen. And I think it's a good thing. I think it needs to continue until actual legitimate change happens in the world. And I think this is a cleansing of sorts for humanity. And I don't want to echo and repeat the things that I said last week, but it definitely feels like we're going through some sort of a resurgence here. And it's actually like beautiful to see, like, wow, actual change is happening. The Minneapolis Police Department tweeted and announced that they are officially disbanding their police department and looking into funding community driven law enforcement, whatever the fuck that means. Um, and that's interesting to think about. Um, you always think about different types of ways to live, right? Like I always think about that, like the way that we live in our country and in our world, in a democracy or whatever you call it. Is that the right way? Like, are we doing the right things? Are we doing the best things possible for humanity and for the people who we need to take care of? I don't think so. I think that the system that we've created, it has a lot of holes and a lot of ways that people can exploit it. And I think that true evolution and change needs to happen in order for us to continue to survive as a species, as the human species. We actually need to evolve and change, or we will die and self destruct. And I said this in the last podcast. And like I said, I really don't want to echo that shit, but I really want to try to come up with ideas and ways that we can change not only our lives, but our world. And I think it starts with six people in a chat, um, with talking to a guy who it doesn't necessarily know much, talking about myself, and, and just coming up with ideas and things like that. We're not going to sit here and we're not going to solve police brutality and racism and all that shit. That's not what I'm saying, but more so like I want to come up with solutions, not even in just the world, but in myself. And I really don't want to turn this into something about me, but It's such a fucking trip, man. I've talked about it before. Like I feel like my whole life has been like a movie, and there's always been these different episodes and different moments and different things that I've learned, and it just feels like the last year or so has been a fucking movie for me. And in wanting to be better and changing myself, all of a sudden the world needs to be changed as well. You know, when I was sitting there worried about getting a job and working and stuff like that, all of a sudden half of the fucking population of the country is joining me in unemployment. Um, it's just a wild set of circumstances that happened at a wild ass time for me personally, and it's at the very least made me kind of just look at things a little differently, I guess I could say. I feel like I am more, it's not me against the world anymore. I'm not alone in this fucking tornado of the universe anymore, is what it feels like. And I've worked really hard the last year or so to try to get where I'm at, and I'm proud of it. But now is the time for actual physical change and actions to be made. Um, Next Sunday, I start a full time job. I'll be working Sunday through Wednesday, 10 hours a day. And I couldn't be more happy about it. And it's wild because there's people who are legitimately getting unemployment right now. And they're going to be making basically the exact amount of money that I'm going to be making at a full time job, and they're doing it through unemployment, and they don't have to pay shit. I do shit. That's kind of a mind fuck to me. It's a mind fuck that I'm not trying to weasel my way into trying to get unemployment. I'm sure there's some sort of way I could figure it out. But rather than doing that, I feel like this obligation and this urge to just work and to really just start getting my life together. And I think that has a lot to do with what's going on in the world, the confidence I have, the moves I'm able to, I'm wanting to make. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm really proud. But I'm definitely not trying to take away from the actual issues. And you know, I have my own personal things that I deal with and have dealt with and talk about probably too much on this podcast. But it's beautiful to see that there's actual change happening, and things seem to be getting, I don't know about better, but different. And different is what we needed. And I think it's a trip that I remember when Donald Trump got elected almost 4 years ago now. Holy shit. I lived in this house when it happened, and I was sitting on my couch. I might have been this couch exactly. And I remember when it happened, I was like tripping out, like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't understand. I didn't think it was gonna happen. And I legitimately felt afraid. Like, what the fuck is this? Donald Trump is our president right now? But I remember one of the main things that made me feel better about it, and kind of one of the main reasons why I was kind of for Donald Trump as being our president, is because it's, whether it's good or bad, it's different, and it's going to cause change, and it's going to create a disruption throughout the world. And it absolutely has. It seems like it has, at least to me. And that's what's such a trip, is like, holy shit, like this is actually, some shit is actually happening. You know what I'm saying? It's just wild. Um, it's wild to see, but hopefully things work out for the better. And, you know, after all this shit wears off, or, you know, the dust settles and shit like that, hopefully the dust settles in some actual change and things are actually in motion. And it seems like it's so. It seems like it is. I mean, there's still thousands and thousands of people protesting even right now. What, almost 2 weeks after George Floyd was murdered, there's still people out there protesting. And I think it's fucking beautiful. And I wish I could be out there with you guys. But unfortunately, your boy has children. That's kind of one of the main reasons I'm not out there, honestly, straight up. I remember, I mean, shit, if I was younger, I'd have been out there the whole fucking time. But even though I still feel the urge, I almost feel like my place is at home, here on camera and with my children. That's what I feel like is my purpose. To speak, spread knowledge, even if it is to fucking 5 people or however many people are actually sitting here watching, or who will watch it in the future. You know, I don't know, man. It's funny because I remember I was actually in a riot of sorts when I was younger. We went to go to Hollywood. I don't know, why did we drive out there? I don't know exactly why we were out there. Might have just went because there was riots, but we went out there during. I think it was when they premiered the EDC Las Vegas documentary or something at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. There's a video actually I have of it, but we went out there, and it was legitimate. Not chaos like it is right now, but it was chaos in a sense that the police weren't doing shit about anything. And we were walking through the streets, drinking and smoking right in front of a line of police officers, not giving a fuck. And that feeling, being out there in the chaos, was exhilarating. And I'm not condoning, like, obviously craziness and rioting and wild bullshit, but it was definitely a trip to see how it felt to do whatever I wanted in that moment, to be out there in the street smoking a weed in front of a cop like that. This was like fucking 2010, maybe 2011, something like that. No, 2012. That could have been 2010 because that's when EDCLE. I don't know exactly when it was, but around then. And being in the streets, bro. When I remember I was walking, and people were just wild, running around, and it was chaotic. It was kind of scary. But I remember walking through the streets and seeing this dude get his fucking ass beat in front of me, getting his ass handed to him. And I don't even think he was really doing anything. If I remember right, he was just like being loud and obnoxious. And then somebody just came up and fucking beat the fuck out of him right in front of me. And the cops were over there. They didn't do shit. And in that moment, I was like, oh, this is what it would feel like. This is what true chaos feels like. And it was exhilarating. I'm not going to lie. It was you get this sense of freedom that you've never felt before. It's probably similar to when you're like at a music festival and you're walking around and shit like that. But this was something different. It was actually had a sense of fear to it. But I bring that up just to say, I know what it kind of is. I think I've gotten a hint of what this shit is, of what it's like to be out there, and it's addicting. And I just really hope that people can not lose sight of the message and the things that they're trying to change, and continue to just, do things positively and not get caught up in the chaos, because it's very easy. It's wild because just a quick story on that. I actually was in front of the Chinese Theater. There was a line of cops at one end of the street, and we were like right at the intersection. And at this point, the sun was already starting to go down, and it was like kind of the crowd was getting smaller. And eventually, what happened is we were right here, and then the line of cops was here, and then behind us was the intersection, and I guess the cops like flanked us, and basically just blocked us all in. There was like probably 200 people they blocked in, and they blocked us all in. And with the megaphone, we're like, you are all going to be arrested, blah, 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 blah. And then they pulled 2 people out of the group, arrested them on the news. They got the news camera. They're like basically told them like, come look. They arrested the 2 people. They went to the cameras and said, everybody here will be arrested and cited and all this other shit. After they arrested those people, they let us all go. So basically what I saw, I wouldn't call it a cover up, but I saw the police try to make a statement and make a point through the media, and then totally just back out of it, just to try to spread a message that they're going to arrest you if you go down to the riots or the protests and shit like that. I remember I remember watching the actual news report from the camera I was watching. I remember watching the camera and like looking at what they were doing, and then looking at the news and like, oh, I remember that exact moment. It was fucking wild. It was fucking wild. But yeah, man, it was just obviously a very, very small example of what's going on now. And what I got from it is, one, it was exhilarating. It was terrifying. And I can only imagine if I was out in the streets with a real message to like spread, and something real that I wanted to talk about. Like I would be addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? Like I would want to go back every fucking day like these guys are, especially because they're pissed. The anger can fuel you. Fear can fuel you. You know what I'm saying? Like I can. It's just it's wild. It's wild. I don't even know what I really wanted to talk about today, guys. I'm sorry if I ramble and I'm not making too much sense. I legitimately just didn't even want to do the podcast this week because part of me is like just doesn't feel like there's nothing positive really to talk about right now, you know? And I'm really trying to focus on positivity going forward with the podcast, but it is what it is. I got that out. We want change in the world. We want change in ourselves. And in order to change the world, we must first change ourselves. And I think we all need to understand that. But moving on, let's talk about that. The Netflix show You. I don't know who exactly recommended that to me. I think it was you in chat, Leroy. Leroy in chat says, answer my question. I don't see any questions from you, buddy. I only see yo and answer my question. So, but You, the show on Netflix. It's a show about a sociopath, low-key homicidal guy and his relationships and things like that. It is amazing. I don't know if it's amazing, but it's definitely like a trip to see that this dude who is a sociopath, basically serial killer, or this character that is being portrayed, I am seeing so many similarities in that man and myself, especially the sociopathic tendencies. I can only imagine, guys, if I did not smoke weed and I didn't, and change and become the person I am or whatever the fuck, I would legitimately 150% be an intense sociopath, 100%. And that's scary to think about. Because I don't, it's like I'm not dumb. Like I feel like I'm self-aware. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm self-aware. I have 2 people watching me right now on my stream. What's up, Eggs? And it's like, I'm not mad at I mentioned the 2 people watching me right now because it's like, I know I'm kind of like yelling out to the world. You know what I'm saying? I know that, I'm just self-aware of situations. You know what I'm saying? I'm self-aware and I'm confident in that. But you can't be a sociopath and be self-aware at the same time. Or maybe you can. I don't know. I don't know too much about it, but whatever the fuck. That show is amazing. It's a great show. I'm halfway through the 2nd season, and I'm super interested to see where it goes. So thank you to whoever in Discord or whoever in chat recommended that to me. Then went and gathered in enormous mass protests. That's all I see, Leroy. I'm not seeing your messages. What's up, Nick? How you doing, man? Life for a dub. Damn. That's right. Live for a dub 84. Yeah, man. I remember when I did that video, like, I'm going to make a vlog channel because all I had was my Audible 484 account, right? And then I'm like, I'm going to make a vlog channel and I'm going to do a contest to see who can come up with the best title for it. And my boy Anomaly mixed the words and letters and numbers up in Audible 484 and created Live for a Dub 84, which I thought was the sickest fucking thing ever. And then I started to resent it a little bit because it made me seem like a shady piece of shit. Like I would lie for a dub. That just seems shady, you know. Why is it glitching out? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe you're using a word in your question that's making it get blocked. But do you think it's hypocritical? I see that. I like this. I'm just gonna say that right now. I like being over here. This is a new vibe. I really like it a lot. Do you think it's hypocritical that the same people that lost their shit over like 20 hillbillies, same people that lost their... I'm gonna let you write out your question before I try to answer. I'm not gonna lie, guys. This is a nice little setup we got over here. I'm definitely doing the podcast here more. Went President lockdown because were spreading corona, then went and gathered in enormous manifestations like a month later. I don't think those are the same people, man. Maybe they are. I guarantee you there's a lot of hypocritical bullshit going on right now about people saying that they don't want to be out in the streets because of Corona, and then they jumped out in the streets and started protesting. Yeah, I think there's definitely people who did that, but I I don't know. It's hard to judge a group of people who are probably not the same people. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, I mean, I don't know. I think that coronavirus is its own issue and kind of is. I'm hoping an issue of the past, something we learned to and that we have understood now is not as severe and dangerous as we thought it was. And that's kind of a reason people are taking steps forward, getting out of it. But yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying about hypocritical type shit. And all of a sudden, we weren't supposed to be doing shit and social distancing and everything. Now you got fucking hundreds of thousands of people in the streets coughing all over each other. I get it. For sure. Eggs in chat says, I think that people ignored the fact that they're spreading corona over a cause they feel is worth possibly getting sick over. They're willing to risk it while in their eyes. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I think that we should have the ability to risk it if we want to. We shouldn't have had to shut down the entire country, over something that legitimately kills less than 0.01% of the people that it comes into contact with. You guys know that? If you get coronavirus, you're 0.01% chance of dying. Less than that, I think. So it's and I get it. If there was like some Ebola shit, some Spanish flu shit, then yeah, we should shut down the fucking country and do exactly what we did. And I get that we did what we did, not knowing exactly what coronavirus is and all that. It is what it is. It was a mistake, I think, but I think we learned a shitload from that mistake. And I think going forward, we're going to be a lot smarter in dealing with situations like this. So, I feel you, Leroy. Yeah, Leroy's talking about in chat how the entire culture is based off of trends. Yeah, people are treating the protest like it's fucking Coachella, bro. Like it's humans are not perfect. There's gonna be egos involved in almost every single thing that we do, and you kind of just gotta. I don't know. You don't gotta do anything, but I have chosen to look past the bullshit and not think so deeply into things like that. Because if I sit there and think deeply, everything we do is for ourselves. Every single fucking choice we make is a selfish one, and it's like at least for me, I'm trying to not look too deeply into things like that. But it is what it is. After this, there will be something else. Yes, there always is. Absolutely right. You haven't been able to go anywhere, Eggs? They just opened up all the restaurants in my area. Me and the family went to Chili's a couple days ago. I sat down. I had a Heineken. What did I eat? I had a 10-ounce sirloin steak, probably one of the best steaks I've had in like the last 5 years. It was amazing to sit down and chill. And I thought it was going to be packed because they just reopened, but it was empty. It was so fucking nice, man. So fucking nice. It's funny that this whole situation has made me appreciate the smaller things in life, like eating a meal with my family, taking my kids to the park, going to the beach, leaving my home. It makes you appreciate things. It's kind of something that we needed, like I was saying. We needed it to change. Eggs in chat says, do you think we're going to be taking PPE or personal protective equipment and have everyone wearing masks be a normal thing going forward? Excuse me. After 9/11, random stops at the airport, global security, and long ass waits become normal as fuck. I think that it will be a thing the same way that it's a thing in China and stuff like that. When people are sick, they wear masks. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that if you are sick and you are, then you should wear a mask and you should stay home. I think that it's definitely something we should do. Do I think that it's going to be as severe and as significant as it has been the last few months? No, but I think it will take time for that to go away. Like even now, I'm still seeing like we don't have to wear masks anymore where I live, but I still see a lot of people wearing them all the fucking time, and it's not like I don't judge those people for that, But damn, man, I just want to get back to some normalcy. You know what I'm saying? And after looking at the numbers of coronavirus, I'm not afraid of it at all. You know, if I didn't already get it, which is a story in and of itself, I'm not afraid of it anyways. I'd rather live my life. I'd rather, you know, I it's a very cliche thing to say, but you have a fucking risk of getting hurt and killed and or whatever the fuck sick, no matter what fucking what. It's a super cliche thing to say, but you have more of a chance of dying driving to go get your medicine to for coronavirus than actually coronavirus. Leroy says, "Remember in the start of 2020 when everyone was freaking out about Iran? Iran, yes, I remember that. I was fucking freaking out too. I was kind of terrified, and it's just like, you know what I did learn too this last time when I went on this little mini vacation a couple weeks ago. I allow myself, I have allowed myself to be consumed by the fear of the media. And even though I look at it all and I'm like, oh, that's all bullshit. Most of it's bullshit. It's starting to fuck with my head a little bit. Like when I was out on my vacation, we were shooting guns and loading things up in the car to go to where we were going to go shoot. And we put all the guns in the back of my boy's car. And keep in mind, my boy lives on a ranch. You got to drive like a quarter to half a mile in off of the road on a dirt road up and through hills to get to his house. There's like nobody who lives with him near him for like 200 feet or probably 500 feet actually. He lives on a property and there's like little like places, little houses on that property, but nobody lives near him for like 500. I don't know, far. And we're sitting there loading the guns and the ammo and everything into his car, and we just leave it there in the back, and then we go back in the house to get more. And a part of me was like, we're gonna leave all these guns here? What if some fucking psycho pulls up and grabs all these guns and kills us all? You know, what if some psycho Sasquatch creature who's learned to use tools comes creeping out of the fucking forest and decides to kill us all? And I legitimately felt terrified and afraid for a second. And then I thought to myself, what the fuck? Why do I feel that way? Why am I so afraid of guns? It's because I don't know how to use them. I've never been around them that much. And all I do is hear about killing people being shot to death, killings and murders and everything else. And it's like I felt that fear based off what I see online. And the reason my boy wasn't afraid or doesn't feel that way is because he's around those guns. Of course, you know, he has more of a, you know, understanding of them. But also, he's not online on Twitter and fucking YouTube and just watching all this psycho crazy shit that's making him afraid. It was just wild to me to see like, oh shit, I have allowed the internet and media to fuck with my head a little bit, and it's all good. You know, it wasn't. I was still able to, at the very least, see that it was affecting me and be more self aware of it. And then, you know, by the time we were done, you know, I'm a gun loving, free blooded American. You know what I'm saying? I believe in my guns, especially after all this shit. I'm like, okay, I guess I learned how to use a gun right in time. I don't know, guys. I love that the world is being forced to change at the same time that I am being forced to change. And I hate that I'm trying to seem like I'm bringing my ego in this or being selfish about the things, but this is just like how where I'm at now. It's like, wow, the timing is insane. To be in my late 20s at the time where a man changes and becomes a man, you know what I'm saying? You know, becomes more self aware of his ignorances and his stupidities and his weaknesses, and more self aware of the changes he needs to make, and how much, you know. I saw this post that said that when you're 18, you think you know everything. When you're 28, you still think you know everything, but you cringe at your 18-year-old self, and you know that the 38-year-old version of yourself is cringing at you now. And I was like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense because that's exactly where I am. I don't think I'm trying to my best not to feel like I know everything and be cocky, um, but I am confident in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely confident, and But like I was saying, it's a trip that at this time of my life, the entire where when a man becomes a man and people change and things like that, like at this time, hey, this is sick. At this same time, the world is changing, and they're everybody's being forced to change with me, and it just feels like welcoming. It feels like okay, almost like I'm spoiled, like I'm spoiled to be in this moment with everyone. But yeah, it almost makes me think about simulation theory again. Like I tweeted the other day this Facebook memory I had from like what 8 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. And I tweeted or I posted, what if we're living in a video game? What if we're just characters in a video game being played by some intelligent? What was the actual tweet? I don't know. I'll look it up later. But and basically, I tweeted about like, what if we were in a simulation? And this was a long fucking time ago before I ever even heard of simulation theory. And it kind of tripped me out. Like, oh shit, you know. Spot on. It's all good. G. Even 70-year-olds don't have it figured out. No, nobody has it figured out. Absolutely not. There's no such thing. I think you figure out more of it, and I think that when you truly figure it out, you understand that you could never figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? Who the fuck knows? Nick in chat says changes in your inner world happen at the same time as your outer world. They happen together. One doesn't cause the other. Very true. Very true. But I'm mostly saying like the world in general, like the protests and racism and that the changes in society, from one person to another, all this extra worldly change is happening at the same time that my world is changing. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee I get what you're saying. Like as far as your psychological, mental shit, you have to fix your inner self, and then your actual life and around you will change. And that's literally what's fucking happening, dude. It's wild because I've been so confused and so like sad for so long. And like I worked at that gas station and that was really when I really started to try to change and be better and grow the fuck up. And then now that, it's starting to come into effect, I see my life changing. I see my kids more happy. I see my wife more happy. I see the options in our lives opening up. And it's wild. It's wild to see. But you guys want to smoke? Let's smoke something. I love that there's only like a few people in here too. Like the morning streams normally don't do that well, especially when I do podcasts early. But low key, it's kind of like good vibes right now. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Nick and Eggs and Leroy. And Cosmic. Cosmic was here too. Man. So Conor McGregor is retiring again. And I'm kind of like, okay, Conor, come on, bro. Like, how does I don't believe it. That's his like third time retiring in like 4 years or something like that. First off, I don't believe it. Second off, fuck, man, fuck Conor. Come on, dude. Not fuck Conor, but like, dude, like, do something. It's like we don't believe the retirement shit no more. I get that it's probably something he's saying to help negotiate his fight contracts or whatever. But damn, man, there's people out here who support you, Conor, and you kind of like honey dicking us a little bit, you know. I'm a big. I don't know if I'm a big MMA fan. I'm pretty big. I'm just not that educated in it at all. But I'm so looking forward to what happens going forward with Conor and shit. You know what I'm saying? So looking forward to see this comeback. You know what I mean? That I thought was gonna happen after I saw him beat the fuck out of Cowboy. But I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. Eggs in chat says, if everything is broken down into cause and reaction by the laws of physics, then the chemical reactions in our brain have been a cause and reaction from the time we're born. Any type of control we think we have would be outside the laws of physics. We can't control those chemical reactions that determine simple tasks such as deciding to pick up a pen. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's kind of a mind fuck, huh? It's kind of the same idea as like, where do your ideas come from? If it determines on what your belief is in consciousness. But these ideas for art and these ideas for change, these ideas for conversations or whatever, they pop in your head, but from what? Is it just your past thoughts somehow spurring up this random creativity? Or where is that creativity coming from? It's kind of that same idea. Like, do we have any sort of sense of self? Do we have any self control? Because, like you said, yeah, it's wild because even if we were in a simulation too, would it even matter? Well, if you're in the simulation, Eggs, if you are in the simulation, let's say you're in the simulation and you are the person or the thing that was put into that simulation. Wouldn't everything else be just like a branching off of your simulation? So wouldn't everything else be uncontrollable? And the only thing controllable would be you because you're the person in the simulation experiencing the simulation. You're the character in the video game. I guess there could be two aspects of it. You can run a simulation and everything in that simulation be part of that simulation. And everything thinks that they're the main character. That's the mindfuck right there. Or am I the one in control of the simulation? Or is the simulation only being simulated for me? I don't fucking know. It's a mind fuck. I can only imagine if there's some bipolar people out there who do some fucking hella LSD and then start researching simulation theory. I can't even imagine how fucking wild somebody could get from that shit. Just like I fucking get too caught up in that shit sometimes. Like, what the fuck? Or it could be a sandbox like video game, open world like GTA Online. Bruh, it is. It's literally what it is. Like, and then there's video games inside of video games. So like, let's say we're a video game, then we create the Sims, and then inside of Sims you can create a video game. My head is starting to hurt a little bit. I have to go pee so bad, yo. You guys mind if I go pee real quick? I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Cheers. This is actually like such a different vibe just being on the other side of my setup. I've always talked about doing this, but I never thought about actually setting up the microphone like this. This makes it a whole fucking different thing. You know what I also learned is that there's a way that I can set up my iPhone as a secondary camera. So basically, I could going forward do yeah, it just makes things a lot better and easier. It's wild. It's fun. I like doing this shit. Like it's really fun. I, on top of fun, it's like it's a mental relief sometimes to be able to go somewhere and just talk, even though there's only how many people? 4 people in here right now. Just to have a just have anybody here, just to be able to have an outlet. I can just fucking ramble. You know, feels good. Sometimes I don't want to do this shit though. Like yesterday, I just didn't want to do the fucking podcast. Like I didn't have no inspiration. I have to come up with an idea of what I want to call it. Then I have to find a picture for it. Then I got to find an intro. And it's like sometimes that shit just it's fun because like it's like I there's something I want to talk about. But to do this podcast once a week, I think that I'm just not living enough. And that in and of itself is something to talk about. I feel like I'm not doing enough shit, I look back at my vlogs and my journey videos and shit like, damn, I was going everywhere. I was doing so much. I had so much content through just in my life. And now I'm just this guy sits in his garage and just, smokes some weed, plays some games, and gets online. All my life is online in a screen, and I hate it. Getting to a point now where I just want to break out of it. And that's why I got the job. The job I have, more than likely, I'm not going to be able to have my phone the entire time, except for like my breaks and stuff. But it's definitely wild to see. It's like I'm at a place now where I just don't have any urge to do anything except get my life straight. I'm sick of not having money in a savings account. I'm sick of living paycheck to paycheck. I'm sick of like thinking about my daughters at an older age asking me for money and me not being able to provide for them like my dad wasn't able to provide for me, really. I mean, he did and didn't, but I just want to be able to live a better life. And that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm happy about it. Because it sometimes feel like you'd rather have the homies that are at the chat and live life rather than feel like making content. Does it sometimes feel like you'd rather have the homies that are the chat and live life rather than feel like making content? Wait, what? Wait, I'm trying to understand that. Does it sometimes feel like you'd rather have the homies that are the chat and and live life rather than feel like making like I can see how maybe the social aspect is fun, but having to make content might be annoying. Oh, I see what you're saying. So do I like rather go and talk and chat with people in the social aspect of streaming rather than just creating content? Yeah, for a while, yeah, that's definitely what it was for sure. That's why I was streaming so much, like towards the end of last year. Because there was like no content that was exciting for me to make. The only thing that I really enjoyed in the content I was making was the outcome. And not enjoying the process of making the content will drive you fucking crazy and will deter you from making the content. It wasn't fun anymore. I didn't enjoy creating some of the content, like the documentaries and stuff like that, the reaction videos. That's why like my content has to continue to evolve because if not, I'm just not going to do it, or I'm going to do it half-heartedly and it's going to come out like shit. But I don't know, man. Maybe then, but a part of me lately has been kind of getting to a point where it's like, one, I'm creating content that I'm really enjoying. The trip stories and stuff like that, I'm really enjoying it. It's fun. It's a fun read. It's not a lot of work to make them, and people are enjoying it. So it works for everyone. Oh my God, there's a freaking loud ass truck outside. Um, but on top of that, on top of just enjoying the new content that I'm making, I'm starting to kind of look at things as a bigger picture. Like I want to have a YouTube channel. My goal has always been wanting to have a YouTube channel that can support myself and my family financially as a full-time job. But that, how do I put this? That is, it's a very, 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 very hard thing to do, just in general. And two, it makes it 10 times harder when you make the type of content that I make. Psyched Substance, over 1 million, probably 2 million subscribers now. he struggles with financially being able to provide for his family. I can imagine the mind fuck of having to do psychedelic content for the rest of your life in order to support your family, right? And that's kind of a big reason why I have been and I try to stray away from it. Not necessarily lately because of the trip stories, but it's almost like it's not necessarily about creating my channel into a full-time job anymore. It's more so just about creating content, spreading messages that I want to spread, and having fun with it. And that's really all. I set up the business plan though throughout above my channel. You know, we have memberships now. You guys can see the merch underneath this the videos. We have the Patreon thing, you know, all that different stuff. There's ways. The plan, the business aspect of my brand is there. All I really need is the growth. And the growth is only gonna come with consistency and doing something I enjoy. So, you know, I want my channel to grow. I still want it to be a successful channel, but I'm no longer really pushing for it to be like my full-time job anymore. And I also, in general, I'm starting to see that I cannot have a full-time YouTube channel until I have a full-time actual job and I'm making enough money to create the type of content that I actually want to create. Making good videos costs money. Unless you're a little weasel like me. Like, if I really had to make content and pay for everything I have, I mean, I've paid for all the hardware and shit like that, but the software, if I had to pay for Photoshop, it's like fucking a few $100s. Sony Vegas, a few $100s. Sony Soundforge, a few $100s. Mixcraft, actually, I have paid for Mixcraft, but all the different stock footage and different things that I've used, the things like that, you know, like if I really had to pay for that, I'd already be like, it's already thousands of dollars that you have to spend to create. Even now, the things I've already bought, this microphone, this camera, these monitors, this, you know, only reason I've been able to do all this is because it's taken me fucking years and years and years to be able to do it. But if I can have a full-time job and quit fucking lollygagging on a career on money and start fucking working on fucking making some money for a couple of years, you know what I'm saying? Then I can get the things I really need. Create content, go places, do things, you know what I'm saying? But because I've just been a little bitch about making money and I've always been like, as long as I have a little bit of weed, I don't really care how much is in my bank account, you know? Yeah, because you smoke, I was smoking weed and not giving a fuck about anything I was doing. Not creating, not actually doing things that I've always wanted to do. You know, like having a good camera and vlogging and you know, going to the sensory deprivation tank and trying that out and going to fucking New York and making a video of it and having meetups and different things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like those things are fun and good content, but they cost money. And I think that, you know, one of the things I've seen recently is Joe Rogan and Kevin Hart, they did their second podcast and they talked about how, and Joe Rogan said, I remember all those shitty jobs I had. And it's like, I remember only a few shitty, like I have not had enough shitty jobs yet. You know what I'm saying? I cannot just do nothing. Even if we are financially okay, which we would have been, like we would have only been financially okay. I want to be able to thrive a little bit. I want to take my kids on a fucking boat on a lake. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to just have some sort of security financially. And that's kind of the goal right now. It's just focus on that, man. Like I made this decision when I was in Vegas the last time I went, when I, you know, and I made this decision where it's like, I'm just going to like, I need to figure out how to evolve my values to not necessarily be about myself and YouTube and everything else, but more so about just getting financially stable for myself and my family. And it's like, it took me a little bit to get here, but now that's where I'm at, man. That's really what I want to do. And I'm excited and I'm happy. And also hesitant and cautious because I don't want it to be something fleeting. I don't want it to be some bullshit feeling I had like, oh, well, I'm inspired to make some money. Oh, then all of a sudden I get there and, you know, 6 months in, I'm like, oh God, I hate this job, blah, 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 bullshit. I want it to be consistent. So that's where I'm at. X says it's almost a dilemma of what you want to do that makes you happy on your own schedule versus the same content over and over again that might be more successful. You can definitely do it in the fun way though. It just takes time. Absolutely, yeah, definitely for sure. And that's kind of one of the things too. Is like I know that the documentary videos are what people. It's obvious they're my most viewed videos on a monthly basis. Even till now, my documentaries still get more views than everything else. They bring in the most subscribers. If you look at my most popular videos ever, they're all documentaries. But you know what also sucks is that those are all age restricted or they're all demonetized, and it's like, damn. You know how much it fucking sucks to work on a documentary for 2 weeks, upload it, and then it just get demonetized instantly, even confirmed by a manual review demonetized, and sometimes age restricted. That shit sucks, and it's kind of like a deterrent for me wanting to do it because it's like, fuck, man. Honestly, if I made like if none of my videos and none of my content was age restricted or demonetized, the amount of views I get right now, I should be making like close to like $400 to $500 a month consistently, no matter what. If my CPMs were high, and then on top of that, on top of just making the money that I feel like that I could be making if my videos weren't fucked. Because the videos would be doing well, the algorithm would be pushing them more, and more people would be coming to the channel. So it's a trip. It's a trip. It's complicated, but just gonna focus on what's in front of me. Change is hard, but it's needed, and I'm happy about it. So, yay, yay. But yeah, man, I don't know. What did we talk about today? We talked about change. It's hard, but it's needed. If we don't change, we will self-destruct as a society, as ourselves. It's just time for change, man. That's all it is. Just time for change. And I'm happy to see it in the world. I'm happy to see it in myself, but let's keep it consistent and let's keep it up and not get complacent and bored and lonely and scared. Keep pushing. Bite down on your fucking lip and keep pushing. We talked about You on Netflix. I really enjoy that show. If anything, though, it just scares me how much me and that guy have in common. uh, but I love that show. We talked about Conor McGregor supposedly retiring for the third time in 4 years. Don't believe it, Conor. Quit honey dicking me. Go beat someone's ass. Prove these haters wrong. I understand that it's probably fucking annoying as shit wanting to fight and then not being able to fly places and everything else. But I'm a big Conor McGregor fan, and I hope things work out for the man. And I hope this is not an actual retirement. That's really it, man. I don't know. Not much else to talk about, guys. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate you, dude. Nick in chat said, great fortune is coming to you and your family. Thanks so much for the content. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. So much for that, for real. For real. Like things like that, when people say things like that, like they stick with me. Like I really appreciate that, dude. Thank you. I'm trying. We hope so. So yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. I know there's been people in and out. It's not been a crazy cracking stream with, or whatever, but I appreciate you guys. Eggs, thank you so much, man. You really helped the conversation move. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you again to Nick. Thank you again to Cosmic and Leroy for being here. There's a few other people, I think. I think that might have been it, actually. And Humble was here. Appreciate you, dude. Hell yeah. Egg said it feels, yeah, bro, legit feels like a kickback just talking to the homie. There you go. I'm glad. That's what we want with the podcast. Don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up. If you guys are listening to the podcast on iTunes or wherever else, if you guys can give it, 5 stars or whatever, that'd be amazing. There's merch underneath the video on the YouTube channel. If you guys are interested, or you can go to audible484.com. You go straight to the website. I should start talking more about the merch. It's probably a better way for people to support rather than just donating or like being a member. Like just buy a fucking t-shirt. That way you get something out of it and you still support. Never even thought about that. Probably should be promoting the merch more, but GG's. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. For real, this has been a weird few weeks and a few months and year or whatever, but I'm just glad to be able to be breathing better. I'm glad that change is truly happening within myself and the world. So cheers, cheers, cheers. Much love, guys. You guys have a great rest of your week. I will have a new trip story for you guys, and I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to jinx myself, but I should have a documentary by the end of the week as well. So you might not see me too much this week because I'm going to be working so hard on those two things. But I'm gonna do my best. I love you guys. Thank you again. Have a great, great fucking week. Be happy, be yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
The sound of the rain needs no